Hello, guys. Welcome to my bed. My bed and my room in the same picture you're probably going to see for the next 3 months. I wanted to do a video about how to socialize dogs with other animals, because I did a crazy private consultation a few months ago, and it was this lovely lady, and they had lots of animals. They had 2 dogs, they had 3 cats, they had a bunch of little, I think it was rabbits and guinea pigs, and they just had a whole lot of animals going on in the house, right? Now, they got me in to help with the reactivity of the dogs. And I was blown away at what this poor lovely woman was trying to do. And it's just the worst thing that you can possibly do in the history of doing wrong things. So she had these cats, right? And the cats, every night they would get, at a certain time of night, they would get put up the back in the shed. And that's where they spent the night. And then they would bring the dogs in. But the dogs weren't allowed near the rabbits and the guinea pigs. And it was this crazy cycle of switching animals and dealing with the ever reactivity of these animals to one another. And so I came into her house and I just couldn't believe the time and effort. And she wanted to give all of these animals equal time that they deserved, but she was doing it all separately, and she was managing it like clockwork. And it's not working. And so my response to her, which was telling her how you do get animals to stop reacting to one another and cohabitate with one another, and it's by doing the exact opposite of what you're doing now. You need to bring the animals together, right, in order for them to stop reacting to one another. They're only reacting because they're not allowed to meet them. They're kind of behind a fence. They're ships passing each other. And so none of the animals ever get used to one another. The dogs go crazy and react. The cats get frightened. And it was genuinely causing marital problems for these clients. It was a crazy roster they were trying to uphold. And they had kids too. So this topic is something I am super passionate about, and I'm passionate about it because as a vet nurse, and I've been a wildlife carer, I always have a million animals around me. I'm always bringing new animals into my space. I have a lot of animals that live with me. And as a vet nurse, I can tell you that I have had every single animal I have ever brought into my home, living with every other single animal that you would never think would live together or get over their reactivity to one another. And they were completely trustworthy, happy, accepting each other kind of family pets. So I'm going to use one example, right? I get asked this all the time. My Kelpie has just eaten my chicken, and it keeps eating the chickens, and it breaks in and the chickens get out and eats chickens. So what do? Most people will make sure that their border collie, their dog is not anywhere near their chickens. They'll have a chicken pen, they'll have the dog outside of it, they'll have fences, they'll have a system that tries to stop that from happening. And again, that's the opposite of what you need to do to fix that problem. Dogs are amazing at, all animals are actually, at learning to accept one another, befriend one another, not hurt or bite one another. But it needs to be done in a way where these animals are socialized together. It's in the coming together, and it's the coming together that's the hard part for a lot of people. They can't handle it, they're scared of what's going to happen, so they're keeping it all separate. So what do? You've got that dog that ate your chicken. Now, of course, the dogs have instincts. If a dog hasn't been socialized with a bird and suddenly a bird flies past its head or runs past it, it's going to do what dogs do. It's going to chase it, maybe even hurt it. But dogs are smart, and dogs can learn what is part of your family and what is not part of your family. And I have had cats letting birds deflee them, and my dog with a possum on its back. Dogs are so amazing at accepting and guarding and protecting whoever's in the family. And whenever you bring a new something into a family situation, get a new pet, new chickens, whatever it is, there is always going to be an initial difficult phase. So what you need to do is bring the animals together. So what I want to do is give you some ideas of how to do that. And this one's a good one because dogs understand it, right? The lady who had the chickens killed, she's now got, the chickens live in the backyard, the dog lives in the front yard, they're completely separate. She'll go out and feed the chickens and blah, blah, blah. Which isn't teaching the dog anything other than there's chickens over there that he's reacting to, and quite might like to eat another one, or at least chomp on one or chase one. So you need to speak to dogs in their language. So let me give you an example. When I get, let's just say I got chickens, right? And I've got a dog that hasn't met chickens and is highly reactive and highly interested in those chickens. What you need to do, and I know, look, it's hard because what I'm going to ask you to do is going to be harder and it's going to stress you out more than it is locking your dog out the front and keeping your chickens out the back. But it's going to solve your problem. And then you're not going to have to worry about this segregation shenanigans that I saw taking place the other day. So you've got your chickens, you've got your dog, you put your dog on a lead and you take your dog with you, right? Every single time you feed the chickens and you give them water, you take your dog with you, you tie your dog up there right next to you, you feed the chickens. Let your dog watch you feed the chickens. Let your dog watch you change the chickens' water. And then go outside and sit down with your dog on a rug and watch the chickens eat their food. And all the while, you're talking to your dog. Now, your dog wants to please you more than any other thing on the planet, I promise you. That's what they live for. They don't want to eat chickens when you don't want them to eat chickens. They just don't know any better. So you are talking to your dog, right? Because what dogs understand, and this is what I say to everyone, the most important thing you need to know is that dogs listen to the tone of your voice. The tone of your voice, they've evolved with humans to read our tone, our vocal tone and our facial expressions. So they know when we're angry, they know when we're sad, they know all of our emotions and they very much respond to them. So if you were to be out there with your dog, let's say your chickens are in there and you were to go, get them, you could absolutely coax a dog with your voice to get those chickens in about 2 seconds flat. Dogs can be egged on in that way, right? And in the same way they can be egged on in that way, they can be egged on to be gentle and help with the chickens. They learn that these chickens, you're caring, by watching you care for these chickens and for you talking to your dog about the chickens. Good boy, you be gentle. Here, chuck some food to the chickens. Let them come a bit closer. Good boy. Now, they might go for bananas, right, for the first few times, and it's going to discourage you and it's going to be hard and you'll think the chickens are going to be scared, and just do it every single day. And I guarantee you that within a very short period of time, you will have a dog that completely understands that it's not meant to eat the chickens. And it will happily run down with you while you feed the chickens, and it will happily let you collect the eggs. And you have guided that dog with your voice as to what you want it to do. So when I'm training dogs, dogs can learn hundreds of commands, and you kind of adopt the commands that might best suit this situation. So in this instance, it might be gentle. So I teach my dog what gentle means by having a gentle tone. I touch them gently. I show them gentle. I show them what gentle means with my tone and my body language, because that is what dogs understand. And when you've taught a dog what gentle is, it can even be like when you give your dog treats, you're giving them and you're gentle, gentle. You're teaching them in all the ways you can what gentle means, so that when you're sitting there with your dog and it's wanting to, the chickens, sit down, Gordy, drop, gentle, gentle, good boy. They need to be around them. And once they've been around them, within no time, you'll have your dog going into that pen trustworthily. Even dogs that have eaten chickens, and there's that whole, oh, once it's killed something, and that's a bit of a thing. But dogs very much want to please you, and dogs very much know how to live with other animals. And I have gotten everything to live with everything. And I know now that I can bring an animal into the house, any animal, and the animal that will have an issue will be the animal coming in. It's a bit daunting. There's all of these things there to say hello, but they're all just so well adjusted and well socialized that I could bring whatever I wanted in, and I know that they're going to be okay. So I guess what you do is you don't, look, if you've got a really boisterous puppy and their impulse control can be a lot, sometimes you need to be a little bit more careful, because they can just get excited and just be a puppy and innocently hurt something. So they might take a little bit more time, but the plan is still the same. In watching you care for your chickens, in watching you pick the grass for your guinea pigs and change the water, in watching you and helping you feed the cats. Here, while I feed the cats, you can have some cat pickies. And the cats will come up. Dogs learn that. Dogs learn what their crew is, what their family is. And they're very protective over that. So you've just got to show dogs with your words, with your tone, and in your actions, how to be around these tempting things in a positive way. And if you need some help with, that's the kind of thing that sometimes people are a bit nervous, they don't know when, and you can absolutely get help with that. I normally consult and I do a lot of this kind of thing. But really it's just having them with you while you care for things. And they very much learn what those things are. And then within no time, if an outsider comes in and goes near those things, they'll be very protective of them. So if you've got one of those dogs you're not 100% trustworthy of, but you still need to introduce everyone, muzzles can be a great tool just temporarily. Like, okay, we're going to let the chickens out for the first time, and when we're going to have our dog on a lead, and we're going to put a muzzle on him. Muzzles are great in that they can still drink, they can still breathe, but if they go, they're not going to be able to harm. So if you've got a dog that you think, no, I just think this dog is going to go, have a muzzle on for a couple of weeks while you just have the chickens running around and you walk around with your dog on a lead. As soon as they learn they can't do anything, they don't, and they can't, and then they tend to just absorb the environment, which is you caring for these things that are part of the family. So don't segregate. Use the tone of your voice. Your dog wants to do what you want it to do, and it is listening to your tone. So as I said, I could make my dog kill that chicken, or I could make my dog lick that chicken and care for it. And that's all with the tone of my voice. So you're speaking to them and you're giving them meeting opportunities, and then afterwards you're just praising the living bejesus out of them. So yeah, I hope that helps.